Wage growth is up, the recession's going down, inflation is going down. I mean, overall, things are looking good, right? And yet what are Americans doing with all their excess money? Stupid stuff. You cannot imagine how dumb Americans are right now with their money. And what are they doing? They're taking frivolous trips, they're buying Taylor Swift concert tickets, and then they're buying this thing for the PS3 called the Portal. Are you kidding me? So here's where we're at. Americans cannot stop spending their money. I think about when I was poor as a college kid and how 4.5 years later I was financially free. I had graduated college, I didn't need to get a job, but it's because the little money I saved, I was very careful. I invested it, and one home became 2 and 2 became 25. And basically I had a $12,000 a month residual income from my portfolio. That meant as a graduate, I didn't need to get a job because frankly, I was making more money than any job could have paid me. So my journey of entrepreneurship had begun. But let's take a look at what most Americans are doing right now. We're gonna start with this conversation on job security. Employers are adding to payrolls at a healthy pace, and unemployment remains near historic lows. So a lot of people look at the economy and they're thinking, man, we're in a really good way right now. How good? Job openings right now exceeded the number of unemployed Americans seeking work by more than 3 million jobs in August. That means that right now we have more jobs than we have people. Like, think about that for just a moment. Wage growth was a solid 4.2% in September, which for the first time in a long time outpaced inflation at 3.7%, which has cooled since mid-2022, but remains above pandemic levels, which basically means my employer's offering me more money and the amount that I'm getting, 4.2%, exceeds inflation, which is eroding the value of my money at 3.7%. We're actually on top, not by a landslide, but by something. And if we take a look at the total American population, Americans collectively pocketed about $280 billion from tapping the equity in their homes. They saved about $120 billion from refinancing. So that's money that they got in the bank, and the question is, how are they spending it? Well, roughly 90% of mortgaged homes have a rate somewhere below 6%, according to calculations from Mark Fleming. And the excess savings peaked at $2.1 trillion in August of 2021. That was after the government was literally sending checks to people in the mail. What's happened since then? American households began to pull from these excess savings rapidly starting in 2022, averaging about $100 billion per month and totaling $1.9 trillion as of June. In other words, the amount that we have saved has decreased by 10%. That's a very noteworthy number. And that means that with 62% of Americans living check to check, we're not being all that careful with our money. Now, if you're familiar with Parkinson's law, it basically says that when your wages go up, your spending goes up too, which is why most Americans end up living check to check. If you make $40,000 a year, you're probably spending $38,000 to $42,000. If you make $140,000 a year, you're probably spending $135,000 to $145,000 a year. Right now, if there's anything we've learned in the last couple of years from this recession, it's that when you start getting a little extra money, don't increase your lifestyle. Don't start spending that money. Do smarter things with your money. I don't know why Americans can't figure out this simple truth that if you become a really big spender, you've got no money. If you become a really big saver, you'll never save enough for retirement. And the only solution falls in the middle called become a professional investor. Like on the side, outside of your career, outside of your hobbies, you got to learn how to grow your money on your own. The 401k won't do it. The IRA won't do it. You're basically stuck and you're jammed up. And by the way, if you're a subscriber on my channel because you've been wanting to get into real estate, did you know that if you have money in a 401k or an IRA that you can partner up with me? There is a link below where I can show you how to make it fully turnkey so you don't have to be involved, but you can make crazy good money. All right then, where is the money going? Is it really going to Tay-Tay tickets and frivolous trips? We understand that the prices and the cost of living right now, they're on the rise. That's part of the game of inflation that we're all living with. But look at what Delta Airlines reported. They said that they had a 30% jump in earnings. What does that mean? It means that people are traveling more. People are finally flying more. We're getting kind of out of the pandemic mode. And then on top of that, Ticketmaster sold more than $295 million of event tickets in the first 6 months of 2023, which is up nearly 18% year over year. So you compare the year before to here, and it's like, I guess people got money to spend. We're gonna travel, we're gonna take trips, and we're gonna go see some cool concerts. Other Americans are using the equity from their homes to add further improvements to their property, and that's problematic. It's like, well, my home went up in value, so let's go ahead and improve my property. Do you know how many improvements to a home do not actually increase the value, but they justify it? And they're like, well, I dropped in a new kitchen, so my house is probably more valuable now. And it's like, you'd be surprised what little things you can actually add to your house to actually impact the value of the home. Right now, that's just justifying a nicer lifestyle. Instead, it'd be so much smarter if you actually put that money into another property, build a portfolio. You know that 90% of Americans that became rich, they did it in the game of real estate. It started all the way back to Rockefeller, one of the robber barons, all the way from the Great Depression that said, hey, we bought real estate for pennies on the dollar, we got rich, and people have been doing it ever since then. Which kind of begs the question, like, where should you put your money? Redfin is weighing in on this. They found that the national median sales price from May 2019, the national median of the average home in America, $297,000. But if you fast forward to May 2022, that same number now is $431,000. That is a whopping 45% increase. It's like, yeah, Kris, I know because I own a home and it went up $150,000. And I'm like, why not 2 or 3 more homes? What if you had owned 7 homes? You'd be a millionaire right now. $150,000 on 7 homes. Do the math. That's over $1 million. In other words, take the equity in that home and don't increase your lifestyle. Don't pay for Tay-Tay tickets and travel more. Use that money to actually invest and get ahead. Now, why would I actually share this? Well, you understand that conservatively, according to Freddie, we're missing 3.8 million homes. If you take a look at most news sources, they're saying we're missing 6.5 million homes. And right now, last week, guess what happened? Rates dropped to 0.5%. And right now, Rocket Mortgage is forecasting through 2024 that the rates are going to continue to drop through the presidential election, even maybe as low as 4.1%. Do you know what will happen to the price of real estate when rates start to come down, even 1 or 1.5 points? You're going to see prices skyrocket. Why? Because we don't have the inventory. The homes don't exist, which is why on the side, I'm racing to buy as many homes as I possibly can. Right now, I'm buying a home every single day. Now, you might be thinking, Kris, why real estate? Historically speaking, homes in the US generally only appreciate 2 to 3% per year per market. The national average is 4.6%. However, the US housing market recently reached a historic milestone as the total value of the US real estate hit an all-time high of $47 trillion in June 2023. Right now, there are many untapped markets around the US that have homes you can invest in that will actually produce a double-digit return. Like, as in, hey, Kris, if I put money in a 401k, my 30-year average is 5%. If I put it in my IRA, it's between 6 and 7%. But in real estate, you can get 25, 30, or 35%. Well, I've done it on several thousand homes. And if you want to know what that looks like and why I invest in real estate, check this out. Now, if you haven't caught the real estate bug, or if you're uneducated on how people become multimillionaires in real estate, there are 8 reasons to invest your money in real estate. Reason number 1, positive cash flow. If I buy a house and I rent it out and my mortgage is $1,500 a month, but they're paying me $2,000 a month, that's $500 left over every month that goes in my pocket. And that happens every month. Number 2 is called principal reduction. I've basically outsourced the paying off of the home to the tenants. Every year that they're there paying down my mortgage adds a 5% ROI to my overall experience. Number 3 is appreciation. If nationwide real estate appreciates 4.65% year over year, I go into markets where I can get 8, 10, or 12%. You start adding that to your ROI, and now it's like, wow, Kris, between cash flow and the tenants paying off my house and the appreciation, those 3 reasons alone, I see how you start to get to 25, 30, or 35% annual ROI on your money. Then you got market resilience. If you buy single family homes priced below the median, I buy them generally 30% below the median. What it does is when the market comes down, I'm insulated from those bumps and bruises, which means I'm on top still with positive cash flow winning in the game. Number 5, tax benefits. Did you realize that you get to write off a home over 27 and a half years? And every year you count that against your positive cash flow, you don't have to pay taxes on your positive cash flow. And there's tax benefits left over then to reduce your income. The first 7 years that I bought real estate, I never paid taxes because of this one benefit. Number 6, you have leverage control. Like, how cool that a bank says, if you put up some of the money, we want to put up the majority of the money. In many situations, you can move money from a 401k, an IRA, equity in a home, come up with a 20% down payment on a property. Might be 50 grand, but the bank's going to put up the rest of the money. And because they're giving you 80% leverage control, that's actually going to grow your ROI by a 5-fold factor. Benefit number 7, it's a passive investment, which means it doesn't need babysitting. You don't have to talk to the tenants or do anything. You don't even have to be the property manager. And the final benefit, number 8, is that when you add all those ROIs up, you can produce a total ROI well in excess of 25, 30, or 35%. And just to give you an idea, that same $50,000 earning 5% in your retirement account over 20 years will triple. It'll become $160,000. But that same $50,000 sitting in real estate at even just 25%, a very easy target to hit, over that same 20-year period of time, produces 27 times more money, $4.3 million, hence how people retire in the game of real estate. Now check it out. Did you know that you can partner with me? You can bring the money to the table. I will have my team of 200 experts do all of the work. We split the profits, and guess what that means? It means that now retirement isn't just gonna be a measly couple $100,000. Retirement can be more than that. It can be total financial freedom. Click the link below, learn about partnering with me. Let me show you how it works. So check it out. I'm not saying that you can't go on those trips or you can't go to a Tay-Tay concert. What I'm saying is there's gotta be a period of time in your life where you prioritize investing, because you can't get that time back. If you start with investing, it's very possible that 5, 7 years from now, you can literally go to as many concerts and take as many trips as you want, because your investments are now paying for your lifestyle instead of you trading hard-earned cash for something you haven't earned yet. Krohn, I don't have $50,000 large that I can use as a down payment on real estate. Can I do real estate in a manner that just makes me money even if I don't have any money? Yeah, that game is called wholesaling. That's where I teach you how to find really, really good deals, and then basically you pawn them off to investors for a finder's fee, usually 10, 20, 30, or even $50,000+. If you want to learn about that, click right here and let me give you a quick mini course on how to do it for free.